Hey guys, how's it going? We are out in the garden a little bit early this morning. My camera's acting up, so sorry if the coloration is off. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm about to let Mama out of her coop because the other chickens are still picking on her. We're gonna let her out for probably the next month and just let her free range during the day. I got a few things I would like to do today and also give you guys an update on a few things. And I really want to get a clematis planted. I know very little about clematis and I have terrible success with them. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm really hoping that I have good luck with this one, but there's a lot of things that I had a misconception about. I just watched Erin from the Impatient Gardener. She, I guess, has a ton of clematis, and she had said that they need a ton of fertilizer and they're very hungry.
And by the way, you can say clematis, you can say clematis, you say whatever you want, doesn't matter. And then I did put some Espoma rose tone. That is what I fertilize all my clematis with. So I just kind of mixed that in sort of at that top layer.
I didn't know that. So we're gonna take some of her tips and we're gonna roll with it. So let's let Mama out really quickly because she's looking so rough. It's really sad. The chickens are really mean to her right now. And then I'll give you guys an update. You ready, Miss Thing? Come on, let's go. Outside. There we go. You want to open that? Can you make it through there? There you go. First update is the corn. And look at that. It is actually pushing new growth. All of them are. So that's exciting. Obviously, they're doing okay with the transplant. None of them have died. And like I said, they're all pushing new growth and they actually look a lot healthier. You can see they've really started to green up. So that's really exciting. And then over here, I have flowers on my cucumber, so that's an exciting time. Beans are growing. Everything in here is looking really, really good. I cannot wait to harvest this garlic. You can see that some of the leaves on it are starting to brown. So very soon I should be able to harvest this. I went through and I pulled the garlic scapes, which are the blooms, and you pull them off before they start to flower because it just takes energy away from the bulbs. So this is where a flower was, and you pop them off. You can technically use them. I've never used them. I just usually feed them to the chickens. There was one time that I said I was going to use them, brought them inside, and then just never made anything with it. But I can't wait. It's getting closer. You can tell the two varieties. So this is one variety, and then this is the other variety. I don't even remember what I did. But look at how thick some of these stalks are. And this is the other variety. So I think one's a soft neck and one's a hard neck. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I did. And then over here, this is one of my potato containers, and it is looking so good. I mean, I'm getting tons of growth on here. I did a ton of potatoes in this. I doubt there's any actual potatoes forming at this moment. Usually you can dig down pretty lightly and you can find a few potatoes. So I haven't found any yet, so I don't think there's any that have formed up yet, but just seeing this is really exciting. And then I wanted to show you in this bed, the butterfly bush has totally taken off. It is in full bloom right now. It's really pretty. We can see the dark purple color from the gazebo where we're sitting, and it's so pretty. And then I have my first peony of the year. It looks like I'm probably only gonna get one peony. So unfortunate. I don't remember her name, but she was really, really pretty. I want to say it was Sarah or something like that. I planted this 4 years ago, and it was from Home Depot. I obviously have it too deep, so that's why I only got one bloom. I had mulched last year, and when I mulched, I think I added too much mulch over these peonies. So once this is done blooming and the foliar growth dies back, so this coming fall, I'm going to dig these up and I'm going to raise them up a little bit out of the ground. Peonies really only want an inch at most over their roots. They really don't like to be buried deep at all. So these are probably too deep, and that's why I didn't get a whole lot of blooms. So I've got one on this and one on this one right here. And then I just transplanted this one over here, which is a totally different variety, and I don't know who she is at all. And if you remember how tiny my sunflowers are, right behind those peonies over here, they have grown so much in just a short period of time. So this is really exciting to see. I'm really happy with it. Over here, the petunias are starting to actually come back, the super cows, which is really exciting. I thought that I really made them angry, and now I see a ton of buds, and then even these ones have started to open up. So they're making a rebound. They're good. I think I just planted them, and then we hit 80 degrees, and then we cooled down, and they just weren't happy about that at all. So this is the clematis that we're going to be planting today. Ignore this. This is my fault. I didn't know that they were such hungry plants, and I did not fertilize this. I have not been taking care of this since I bought it. It has just been getting water, and so she looks really sad, and I take full accountability for that. I didn't realize. So we're gonna be planting this one. This is called Pink Champagne Clematis. We're gonna go over a few stats because there's some things that I don't know, and I am not the clematis expert here. If you're wanting a like full deep dive into clematis, this probably isn't the video. We're probably gonna have to learn this together. I love clematis. I've always loved clematis. My grandparents had one growing up the side of their back patio that they had, and it was spectacular. It was amazing. I don't know which variety it was. It was probably like 30 feet long. It had pink flowers on it, and it was amazing. And so ever since then, I've loved clematis, and I kill all of them. I've only been able to keep one of them alive, and that is the evergreen clematis. It is so hardy. It is so like indestructible. It's amazing, but it is higher zones only. And I think that's the reason that I've been able to keep it alive. So we will see what happens with this one. My goal is to keep it alive and actually learn. There's a few plants that I do very, very poorly with, and clematis and hydrangeas are like the two that I have the hardest time learning about and keeping alive. So I have my computer because I'm going to talk about a few things really quickly because these are things that I think both of us could learn. So Pink Champagne Clematis, growing zones 4 through 9, quickly reaches 8 feet tall, but you do need to give it support. It's a climbing plant. If you don't know anything about clematis, they do love to climb. And then you want to be able to plant them in full sun, but you want to give the roots shade. The roots don't like to cook. They also don't love to sit in water. So we want to make sure that it's in a well-draining type of like soil. We want to make sure it's not like in deep clay or anything like that. It probably won't love that. This one variety is early flowering, meaning that it is a group 2 for pruning. I think that there's 3 groups, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. 3 groups for pruning. So group 2 is the easiest to grow because they bloom on new wood and on old wood. So meaning you can prune them whenever you want to prune them, where other clematises bloom on old wood or new wood. New wood means that it's the growth that happens that current year. Old wood is the growth that happens in previous years. So like if this clematis bloomed on old wood, it would be setting its blooms currently on this year's growth for next year. So with that, any pruning that you want to do, you usually want to do it immediately after something is done blooming, so it has the rest of the growing season to put out new growth. So that's the tip for that. So this is type 2, meaning that it can grow on any type. It can handle, you know, if it gets cut back or whatever. Usually it says generally starts flowering in late spring. These should be pruned lightly in late winter or early spring when you see buds start to swell. Just cut above a fat bud, and this can be done higher or lower on the vine. All traditional large flowering hybrids like Henry and Nellie Moser are in this group also. Type 1 is blooms earliest in the spring and sets flower buds on old wood. These only need to have stray or damaged stems cleaned out. This can be done anytime, but suggested that it be done after flowering to avoid losing blooms. Occasional thinning every few years will help with performance. Examples are Montana and Armandii Snowdrift, which is the evergreen clematis that I have, and that's the one that I think it grew like 15 or 20 feet in like 1 year, and it is so hardy. And then there's type 3, which only blooms on new wood. They start flowering summer or later. Type 3 can be cut nearly to the ground just before growth begins in the spring. They will have some buds on the stems, but many will sprout right from the crown. There's one called Burning Love that does that. And I learned about that because of Erin from the Impatient Gardener, her video where she recently cut her clematis back straight down to the ground. And I think she left like this much of the stems. And personally, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, you can do that? I knew that there were different groups of clematis, but I didn't know like a super big depth of them. And honestly, just for the most part, I have heard just leave the clematis alone, let them do what they want. You might get, you know, you might miss a year of blooms if you make the wrong time of cut. It's really not that big of a deal. This website, I will link it. They did put this little like blurb in here also, and they said no need to follow directions strictly. Consider where and when you want to see blooms. For example, delaying the pruning of a type 2 clematis can delay blooms until later in the season. Lighter pruning might also be useful to get clematis higher up your support. Growing 2 clematis of different pruning types can work really well if you're aiming for a space with different blooms throughout the season. Try different things each year until you're happy with the results. And I think that speaks wonders because that's what I'm gonna do. So that is the quick PSA of how to take care of your clematis and also feed them. They're hungry. I didn't know this. This is something I'm just learning also. So we are going to go in. I did go in very recently. You can see all of this growth right here. I went in and I used a water-soluble fertilizer. I went in with the Fox Farms, I'll link it down below. It's this one right here. I went in with the Fox Farms liquid soluble fertilizer. It's for organic gardening, and I did water this recently with that to give it a little extra bump of fertilizer, and all of the leaves on it started to turn green again. So they're hungry. So we're gonna make sure that we feed this and we feed it very well and we take care of it during the growing season, because like I said, I've probably killed about 8 to 10 clematis. So the only ones that have lived for me so far are the evergreen clematis, Armandii, and then I have one in the back that Janie gave me, which was kind of a surprise clematis. I don't even remember when she gave it to me. I think it was also my birthday. She spoils me so hard for my birthday. It was my birthday the first year that we met. And I thought I killed it. It is coming back. It's not coming back strong. I was pretty certain that it was dead, but it is coming back. So we'll see if we get any blooms on it. I don't know the name of it. I'll show it to you guys. It's over by the chicken coop. So let me show you where we're gonna plant this, and let's get this guy fed because I'm sure it's really hungry. So I'm thinking in this bed, it would be absolutely fabulous. I used to have a wisteria growing up and over the aviary right here, and I ended up pulling it just because it wasn't performing very well. The roots were not very happy. But I'm thinking this would be a really great area. So it looks like it's in shade right now, but I promise you by the afternoon, it is in full sun. Usually the birds sit right there where they're screaming at me currently. And that whole area is in full sun. So I thought if I just tucked it in right there, it would be really funny. Okay, not funny. I thought it was funny that I used this. I thought it would be really pretty if I tucked it in right in this hole and let it grow up and over. I think that that would be awesome. It should reach the top and maybe just kind of like come around the front just a little tiny bit. I'm obviously using this because my hand is very full. So I thought this would be a really good area. I love this bed. I love the color that's coming along in here. It looks so good. And so I think adding this like huge flower with the pink will be really pretty. And during the summer when it's over 100 degrees, this will provide a little bit more shade and cool it down in there for them. So I think this is kind of where we're gonna go. Let me show you guys. So if I set this in here, it's not very tall right now. I should be able to wind it up just a little bit. So it should be able to start reaching that immediately. I mean, it's gonna sink down, you know, another couple inches because of the container, but I think that that'll be pretty good. Now I'm thinking though that I need to paint this side of the wire black. I painted this side of the wire black, which makes it almost disappear and you can kind of see in there really nicely. This side is still silver because we had the wisteria growing over it. So I think I gotta do that first. The only problem with painting this is I have a dentist appointment in about 45 minutes. So I need to get this painted now. so that way it can dry while I'm gone, and then I can get this planted. So let's get this painted. That is gonna be so gorgeous. I cannot wait to see that. This, I'm gonna go inside, and I pushed some of the stems inside. I'm gonna go in and push them back out from like one of the other netting things. I don't know, one of the other holes, whatever this is called, a square. So I pushed them in. I'm gonna come in and push them out just so that the birds leave most of it alone. I was able to get 3 of them to go in, and this way I can just kind of like weave them in and out, and that really gives it lots of support. I do expect it to be able to eventually just do it on its own, but this is gonna be so pretty here. Pop of color. I mean, you barely even notice the leaves that I neglected down here, and you see all of this beautiful new growth. Since I bought it, it's put on probably all of that right there. And when I did buy it, it had 1 flower on it. And I think that was taking up so much of the nutrients. And now that 1 flower is starting to go to seed, which also takes up a ton of the nutrients. So that's why it had this problem down here. So now it should be totally happy. And one thing I did go in with the rose tone from Espoma. I always use this on my roses to fertilize. I mean, this bag is basically empty, but Erin from the Impatient Gardener said that she uses it on her clematis and has really good success. So I had never done that before. I'd always just gone in with some like biotone or just basic fertilizer, all purpose. But if this is gonna help it succeed even more, then I think that we should be good. So this should really help it. I literally had the fertilizer out right there. I was gonna go in with the EB Stone Sure Start, and quickly remembered that she had said, use this. So that's what we went in with. You know, you think I would read, there's like a whole list of plants that it is supposed to work with. But I've never read that. Who reads all the instructions? Not me. I can't wait to see this fill in this area. It's so nice to add more color to this bed. This bed is just, I want it to be impactful with color. I want it to be a ton of color. This is going to be my hardcore cottage garden bed, along with what I want to do up front. I just want to add more color to my garden. I have a lot of like monochromatic, a lot of formal, a lot of greenery in my garden, and I just want it to be colorful. So I've got pinks, and I'll have, I mean, this is also pink, but I have a lot of other colors in here. I've got purples and oranges and yellows and whites and greens, and I have a pink berry bush, and so there's just a lot of color in here now, which I'm really happy about. And once these alliums right here start to die back a little more, I'm gonna go in with a little more color. I don't know what color yet, so if you guys have a suggestion on a color, let me know. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm hoping I can keep this one alive. I still haven't shown you the one that Janie got me. I need to show you that really quick. Let's do that, and then we'll say goodbye. So coming back to the secret garden, this is where the other one is that Janie bought me. Ignore my hydrangea. She's looking a little yellow. She probably needs some fertilizer too. But look at this clematis. It has a burnt leaf on it. So she had bought me this one. I think this probably also needs some fertilizer, so I should probably also do that. But she bought me this one, and I planted it back here, and it came up and it just started growing up this cord right here, which is the solar pump to our fountain, which totally fine by me. I didn't realize that it was growing there. And then I was like, oh, why do those leaves look a little different than the hydrangea leaves? Thought it was a weed. And then I noticed it was a clematis. So I can't wait to see this thing grow up and be nice and tall and big. I don't know about buds, but you can see it's getting sun right now. My goal when I planted it was to have it grow up and over and be in front of the chicken coop. So maybe I'll train it to do that, because that would be so pretty to have a wall of blooms right here on the wire. Oh, so hopefully that continues to grow. I'm gonna just throw a little bit of rose tone down there, and hopefully that helps that out a lot. Look at this hydrangea. So exciting to see hydrangeas in my garden, because I very often fail with those also. So I've got 2 plants that I often fail with that are doing mediocre, and I'm gonna take it. So that is going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something about clematises, because I have learned a lot in the last 24 hours trying to research this, because I want to be successful with them. I love them so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.